all the news from WTCN TV's expanded news gathering facility.
WTCN TV, Channel 11.
This is KARE 11 News at 10.
It's not quite 6 a.m. at the Super 8 Motel in Rogers, and Joel Artman is looking for a little peace of mind.
Just checking it out, seeing what it's going to be like.
His home is an apartment in Edina, but his new house is being built out here, where Wright and Sherburne counties come together, just outside the 7-county metro.
It's not too bad of a drive, I hope.
They wanted to live in the cities, but he and his fiancée couldn't find anything they liked for $150 grand. So they're building a place 30 miles from the city. This morning, he's practicing rush hour.
It looks a little thicker than I'd anticipated.
It's pretty. It looks really well kept.
Susan Moore is holding out a little longer. She's still looking in the cities, where the median $110,000 home has jumped to $145,000 in just 5 years.
It's a one-car garage. You can park in the cold.
This house has 1,000 square feet on the main level. There's a kitchen with no dishwasher and no place to put one if you had it. While she qualifies for a $200,000 loan, this house would take $220,000.
Look at the lights.
She's coming here from Cleveland.
In Cleveland, what would this home sell for?
Oh, 80 or 90,000.
$90,000 in Cleveland, $220,000 in St. Paul. What's more, having lingered in sticker shock for the better part of 4 months through more than 100 homes, she knows this price in this town is a good deal.
It's either going to be less of a house or much more money.
Again, there are lots of reasons why the price of housing is rising so dramatically in the Twin Cities, but we want to focus specifically on supply, the supply of land. This is the place we call home. The Met Council is charged with managing growth here, and they have the noble goal of containing sprawl. But what they've done is they've put this circle around the Twin Cities. They call it the Musa line. It grows a little bigger every year. They want you to live inside the circle. If you live out here, they won't let you hook up to water and sewer. But if you live inside the circle, you can. It doesn't work, and this is why. They don't control all the land. They don't even control all the sewer. They only control out here to the edge of the 7-county metro area. So when prices get to be too high here, people can just leave and move out here. It used to be only 1 in 8 new homes was built out in this area. Today, it's more like 1 in 5. We've certainly given them incentive to move. Look what's happened to the price of land. In Hennepin County, inside that line, the average price of a lot today is going for $140,000. Outside the line, you save $40,000. And if you step outside the county, out here where the Met Council has no control, you save $60,000 more. This is just the price of land. It's $140,000 over here and $40,000 outside the metro. Builders will tell you if you limit the supply of land, ultimately, house prices are going to rise.
If they took our 2x4s away, we'd be out of business. If they take our land away, it's the same issue.
Hans Hagen buys land and builds houses. He says there's so little land left inside the circle that builders are literally lined up when any more becomes available.
So they open up 100 acres and somebody wants to buy that. Well, I can promise you there isn't one person that's going to want it. There's going to be a half a dozen developers that want to buy it, and they will all bid up the price.
And then you pay more. And understand this, sewered land is important to builders like Hagen because it allows them to build more houses on every acre. He saves money, and so do you. Throughout the cities, inside the circle, you'll find almost 3 houses on every acre. Outside the circle, many houses are on septic systems, so it's more like 1 house for every 7 acres. This is where the line runs through Andover. Look how many houses are built on the left side of your screen. See how few are built on the right. It's almost like you could actually see the Musa line. That's the difference. It's right there.
To say that the Musa line is a driving factor behind the production of affordable housing in the Twin Cities metro area is naive, and it is misleading. It is one of a number of factors, and we need to do better.
Ted Mondale's the man in charge of the Met Council. He thinks the impact of that MUSA line on land prices is very, very small. What's more, he says while technically he controls the MUSA line, he moves it whenever cities ask for more land.
If you're a builder and you've got a bunch of land sitting there and the city doesn't want to open it up for you, you want another entity to come in and tell the city what to do. And a lot
So see, the cities say that you're driving it, and then you say the cities are driving it. And meanwhile, land prices are skyrocketing.
Land prices are skyrocketing everywhere.
The restricted land supply couldn't have happened at a worse time. The economy is on fire. The demand is very high, and a government agency is restricting the supply of buildable lots, buildable land.
Glenn Dorfman is a plain-talking New Yorker who's run the Minnesota Realtors Association for more than 10 years.
I mean, I'm just a simple guy who understands microeconomics. The fact of the matter is that if you constrict the supply of something, oil, for example, gas prices go up. Why is it hard? Minnesotans and Americans understand that. The Met Council's wrong if they say that constraint of land supply hasn't affected the cost of land. It's just wrong, period, wrong.
They say it's a small factor.
It's a very large factor.
Pretty much everyone agrees the MUSA line leads to higher prices. The debate is to what degree. Barbara Lukerman studies it like a science.
And I do think the constrained land supply is fueling it. But if there wasn't that good times, if there wasn't the income, if there wasn't the consumer preference, a constrained supply wouldn't have the same impact in my judgment.
On to the next one.
Whatever the degree, the impact is felt most at the entry level. At that place where most first home buyers are found.
Hello, anybody home?
Buyers like Susan and Joel, searching forever and moving farther and farther away. This is the map the Met Council built. They released it this summer, calling it the most comprehensive land use inventory we've ever had. They made this map after developers and builders started complaining that land supply in the 7-county metro was so tight, prices were completely out of control. The council said this map offered proof there was nearly 100,000 vacant acres well inside the metro. Jim Stanton is one of the developers who was complaining a few years ago.
They accuse the developers of wanting cheap land. That's true, because that's the only way we can produce cheap lots or cheaper lots so that the average person can afford these things.
Jim Stanton is still complaining today. Stanton says the council's maps are completely wrong. When we asked him to prove it, he brought us to this little piece of land the council labeled vacant in Coon Rapids. It belongs to him. Could you come out here today and build housing?
Well, it's not zone correct, first of all, but secondly, I don't think you'd get a lot of people highly enthused to live behind a Rainbow, a Target, and a Home Depot.
It turns out, while the council uses his property to prove how much land could be used for housing here, this land never will be. It's zoned commercial. In fact, Stanton says the Met Council itself has plans for a train station here. Jim, what are they doing?
Maybe you should ask them, but I don't think they know either.
We are going to ask them in just a minute, but first, I want you to understand just how bad the math here really is. Remember, the Met Council would have you believe there can't be a land crisis here. They're finding vacant acres all over the place. This is how they figured it out just a few months ago. First, they took photographs taken from an airplane in 1997. Then they highlighted what they thought was vacant land. It's not clear what the standards were, but let me tell you now, much of what they found is in your backyard, literally. Developers argue it's bad enough to use flyover photography to figure out how much land you have, but it's a lot worse, they say, to use old flyover photography. Conservatively, there'd be some 20,000 acres of land put into use for housing between the time when the pictures were taken and when the maps were released. That's how it is we found Dee Guthman on a street that doesn't exist, in a neighborhood that doesn't exist, outside her home, which, you may have guessed, doesn't exist either. You don't show up here at all.
I don't know why.
It says it's vacant.
There's a house here.
They missed that parking lot and the park next door as well. And they also call this, see, all the same color green, they say that's all vacant.
No, that's a railroad going all the way up. That's the railroad, that line.
Not a very good map.
No, it's not. It's not very up to date, that's for sure.
Oh, I wonder when the railroad went in.
Well, I think Andover was named after the railroad or something, so.
It appears even if the Met Council did know she lived here, they would not have given her credit for the land that was hers.
About to the edge of the grass.
That's the case with this neighbor and all of his neighbors. If you live on more than a few acres here, and pretty much everyone does, all you get credit for on the council's map is the area highlighted in yellow here, pretty much immediately around your house. Your property is actually listed by these guys as vacant.
That's interesting. I don't know what they consider vacant, but there's a lot of wildlife and myself living here, so there's not a whole lot of vacant left.
Actually, even Troy, who owns this land, couldn't build on it if he wanted to. The majority is restricted for anybody. It's a wetland, but you'd never know that looking at the council's map either. The builders group has inventoried thousands of acres of floodplains, existing houses, even, look at this, open water, all of which the Met Council claims is vacant land. It's worth noting, it's not just the developers and residents who can't figure out what's going on. In Savage, for instance, even the city planner can't find 3,000 acres the council says is here.
No, they couldn't possibly get to that, Rick.
John Heald says less than 1/10 of the land highlighted by the council could theoretically be used for housing someday, but none of that's for sale right now. Why the council even uses terms like vacant is lost on him. It's so confusing, even the council's own chairman, Ted Mondale, thinks vacant means available.
We have 97,000, I want to give you the right number. We have 97,000 acres that are available for development right now.
Mondale later acknowledged that statement is just wrong. They don't have 97,000 acres available for building. Their maps indicate they have 97,000 acres that are vacant, but reality is they don't have that either. We showed Mondale how far off things were in Savage.
Let me say this to you. We have been working with the builders very, very closely and the cities. If I have not seen this data, I think it's ironic that the builders would, instead of coming to sit down with me with it, would go to Channel 11.
I actually came to them, so you know.
Okay.
Builders and developers have been working with the Met Council for years. They maintain they have the same conversations over and over again. Many of them see it as the difference between having ongoing talks and talks that never end. Mondale maintains it's the cities ultimately in charge of when and where to build, but they're very much limited or encouraged by the Met Council's sewers. And the council doesn't dole that out with much ease, particularly not when they think they have enough land inside their circle already. They still see the builders largely as whining.
What a rump group in the builders associations would like us to do is follow the policies of Atlanta, and that is lay down the road, lay down the sewers, build all the stuff, and at the end of the day, everything's going to be fine. LA did it, Atlanta did it, and I will tell you that every single one of them have failed.
The hope would be to find a middle ground, something between locking all the land away and getting rid of boundaries altogether. Even many builders will tell you there's a value to government managing land, just not here lately.